Hello and welcome back to this edition of Kids Zone. Oh my gosh, the crazy moment that we use every week to teach Christian education designed for the entire family. And for this month, we have been studying and talking about moods. Last week, we talked about the emotion anger. And we learned that anger doesn't have to be the boss of us. This week, we're moving on to a different emotion, and that emotion is fear. How many of you have ever been afraid of anything in your life? Hi, I'm one of them. I have been afraid of so many things, being afraid of heights at one point and getting on top of buildings and standing on top of roofs. And I did it as a young boy. Once I've jumped out of a plane. I've gone swimming with dolphins before, and my gosh, I've jumped out into an ocean. I've gone jet skiing, all these things to kind of face fears of water and heights and different things. And I remember also being afraid of the dark and being afraid of particularly of crazy things like Candyman, which the movie I probably shouldn't have seen at such a young age, and being afraid of this thing called bees. Oh my Lord. And so fear is an emotion that all of us have. Some don't have as much things to be afraid of, or many things to be afraid of, and some people have a lot of things they're still trying to face, and that makes them scared. Fear is an emotion that we all have. Fear is not something that we should be ashamed of or something that we think that something's wrong with us. All of us will experience some feeling of fear. But during fear, we learn that we have these responses. Sometimes we have a fight response and we want to build up resistance against it and cause us to act out and to cause us to do things out of the norm because we're having a fight response. Sometimes we have a flight response and it causes us to avoid the things that we're afraid of. We turn around from things that we know might be a big problem or obstacle and we avoid it completely. Some of us even have what some may call a freeze response. They get so stuck, they don't know which way to turn. You get stuck on a question on a test and you don't allow yourself to answer it, and so you leave it blank because you don't know whether or not you have the right answer or the wrong answer, and you self-sabotage yourself. Oh my gosh, some of us get frozen because we are afraid of those emotions. Well, whether it is fight, flight, or freeze, we don't have to stay just in fear. Fear is natural and it does not have to take over your life. And what do we learn about fear is something that is illustrated in the Bible. Let me read that. It says, while in a boat on a lake with his disciples, Jesus was sleeping when a storm rolled in. Waves were sweeping over the boat, and the disciples were so full of fear that they woke Jesus up, asking him to save them. Jesus calmed the storm and eased his disciples' fears, not only by stopping the wind and waves, but by proving that there is something else we can choose in the face of fear: faith. Oh, Jesus wants us to know that while we have reasons to be afraid, and those things are very, very valid, that we don't have to just be afraid. That fear doesn't have to be our only option. That fear is not something that has to control us or be the boss of us. We can exchange our fear with faith. How about that? Oh my gosh. When we're faced with fear, we have more options than fight, flight, or being frozen. We have faith. Faith is something that we can hold on to. Faith is the reason why we are believers. I have the faith that even though things may not look like I want it to look like, even though my problems might exist and it seems like there's so many obstacles and so many things that you just don't even know how to solve, my faith tells me that everything is going to be all right because I have Jesus in my boat. Where is your boat today? Is the boat in it might be in your home, might be the place where you exist, wherever you are, Jesus is also with us. And that is the faith that we need. So what can we do in order to calm our fears, to face our fears, so that we can exchange our fear for faith? Well, I'm glad you asked. One thing we can do is to stay connected to God and to stay connected to Jesus. We can cast our cares to Him. And what does that mean? It means to pray and to have a great relationship where you're open and honest. I've had that experience myself. I've had to change my perception because of the way I sometimes would view the world and view my obstacles and focus on my problems and say, my gosh, I have so many problems. I don't even know how I'm going to solve them. But then my faith tells me that I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. My faith tells me that I'm more than a conqueror. My faith reminds me that we will win because we have Jesus on our side. This week, I want you to do me a favor. Write down those fears. Let's begin to pray about them. Name them one by one. And we believe by this word, faith, that you will be able to accomplish your goals in 2021, that you'll be able to face those fears, that the problems that you thought were going to keep you up at night and never be solved, that they will be resolved because Jesus is on your side. And guess what? Fear doesn't have to be the boss of you. I'm Reverend Sam, and this is your Christian education moment for this week. I pray that you have a wonderful, wonderful week. God bless you.